Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to MMA Weekly of Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin's my co-host Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
I'm doing very, very well. We took a break from all things. Well, we took a break from the UFC. We took a break from Bellator. There was still some action that happened that you're going to discuss. But all in all, I'm ready to get right back into the swing of things. How are you, Austin?
I'm doing very well. Doing well. Ate a good dinner, and I'm excited to talk about what happened this past, Friday 1, and also preview the UFC Paris Card. That's excited for that. Just to mention briefly, just to talk about briefly, we are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Reason FM. These are our podcast platforms. You can listen to the show if you're interested, and also we're on YouTube and Rumble as well. Thank you guys for watching, listening to those platforms, and let's get started. So this past Friday on Amazon Prime, One Championship had their first event on Amazon Prime. In that main event, it was for the one flyweight title between Adriano Moraes and Demetrious Johnson. Now, if you remember in the first fight, Demetrious Johnson lost via KO. Adriano Moraes knocked him out in the second round via knees. Now, One Championship, knees are illegal, even to a down opponents, unlike in the UFC or North American MMA or most other promotions. And one, you can throw knees on ground opponents. Well, in this fight, Demetrious Johnson got his revenge as he scores the flying knee knockout in the fourth round. You see the picture of him laying that knee as Moraes was on the cage. Now, DJ set it up. He hit Adriano with a right hand that rocked him backwards as he was going backwards. Moraes, he just ran in, caught him with a knee that even UFC or any other promotion in North America, that still would have been legal because Moraes technically wasn't a grounded opponent per the UFC rules, and caught him a perfect knee and just dropped it. Demetrious Johnson wins the one flyweight title and becomes the first fighter to win a UFC and a One Championship belt. And this performance from DJ was one of his best performances in his career, in my opinion. I mean, this is probably top 10, top 5, considering he's going against a guy who knocked him out 16 months earlier, avenging a loss. He faced adversity in that second round, because in that second round he got hit with a head kick that wobbled him, and Moraes took him down and was controlling him, but DJ was able to survive and get out of the second round after getting head kick and hit some power shots. Even the first round got taken down, although when he was on the bottom, he threw a couple elbows, nasty elbows that cut Adriano eye around his right eye basically, and it was a very vicious cut, but the cutman give Moraes cutman credit for stopping the cut and not allowing the blood to trickle his eyes. But as the fight kept going on, DJ just kept land the better shots, going in and out, avoiding most of the power shots that Adriano drew. Now, some of them did connect, and some of them did stubble DJ, but DJ was able to get through. And then as the fight kept going, Adriano started getting a little more tired because Demetrious Johnson did attack the body several times in that fight, causing Adriano to fatigue a little bit. And then to the point where he was able to set up that right hand that rocked Adriano, and then he caught him with that knee to knock him out as he becomes the new one flyweight champion. And this was, like I said, in my opinion, top 5 performance in DJ's career. This was spectacular. I mean, my goodness. It just shows you DJ is one of the 5 best fighters in all of MMA. All of MMA. He's top 5 for me currently and all time. And his performance reminded us of his greatness, in my opinion. I see him with the 1 belt. Showing off that belt. I mean, that belt was big. It looked bigger than DJ even. We saw that.
Yeah. And just kudos to Demetrious Johnson, Mighty Mouse, proving once again that why he is still considered a GOAT in his category, and why, like, to this day, like you said, that trade that went off between one and UFC, it looks worse and worse to this day. But another thing I wanted to mention was, like, I know you said the combo was great. What I loved was how he was able to fake Adriano Moraes with a knee. He gave him a feint knee first, and then while he, retreated back, he caught him with the right hand, and that set up the finish. I love seeing that right there. That was just some excellent striking.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. See, great point for you. This is why I like working with Chef Dan, because he brings up great points that sometimes I forget. They mentioned the setup to the right hand with that fake with the knee that caused Adriano to go back. I mean, that's an excellent point there. I forgot about that. So now, yeah, man, DJ showcased his high fight IQ that he's always had his whole career, and he showcased it there. And also, you're right. That trade, the UFC's looked worse for the UFC. The UFC lost that trade. One championship, won that trade easily, as Mighty Mouse, Demetrious Johnson, like I said, becomes the first fighter to be a UFC champion and a one champion. And one thing I want to mention is that in one championship, the fight division is 135 because of the weight system, the weight cutting rules and things like that. You can't be like too dehydrated. Like, I forgot the rules work, but so in flyweight over there is 135. Lightweight in one championship is 170. For those of people who are wondering, because if you look at Adriano Moraes, there's no way he's making 125. No way. That dude's too big for.
A lot of people were saying he looked like a welterweight.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, he did look big. Maybe a featherweight. Yeah, featherweight. He looked much bigger than DJ, and that's another reason this win is so impressive. The size difference. It's not that he's taller than DJ. He's also got a lot more muscles than DJ, more muscular for his frame. And like I say, he knocked DJ out in the first fight, and DJ knocks him out. I mean, it's just Mighty Mouse Johnson, still one of the best at 36 years old too. Normally in lighter weight classes, your mid-30s, you're supposed to be declining. Yet DJ is still winning fights. I mean, he's beating everyone he fought at one. Like I say, he avenged that loss. He won the one flyweight tournament back in 2019, 2020. He won that mixed rules match against that Muay Thai fighter. That guy, he's like one of the best Muay Thai fighters in the world, Rongtang, in the mixed rules set. I mean, DJ still got it to the point where, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think he beats Figueiredo and Moreno. I'm gonna say it. I think he fought them right now. He beats both of them.
That's interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
That would be unfortunate. Yeah, unfortunately, that won't happen. But congratulations, Demetrious Johnson. Great victory, and great event for them for their first show on Amazon Prime. Considering there was a lot of finishes, I think all 4 fights in the main card went to the finish. I forget the fighter's name, the co-main event, the Muay Thai event, where he beat Liam Harrison with a leg kick, where Liam Harrison's knee just gave out and he had to basically give up.
Ooh.
I forget It was nasty. Yeah.
His name is long right now. If you want me to try and forcefully pronounce it, Nongo Gayang Hado.
No, yeah, Zach. Yeah. Shout out to him because that was a very impressive victory. Highlight reel, like finish with a leg kick that looked bad. I felt bad for Liam Harrison because that. Oof. But Muay Thai is fun sport. Definitely brutal if you're not careful with your legs. But yeah, I'm going to give him a shout out. But it was a great event for their debut on Amazon Prime. The production, everything, the crowd was into it in Singapore. It seemed like there were a lot of Americans, Brazilians in that crowd because in the main event, you heard the Vu Vama Hair chants that Brazilian fans chant for Brazilian fighters, and then I even heard USA chants in that crowd. It's kind of weird considering in Singapore. I know Singapore does have a lot of foreigners that live there, but wasn't expecting that. But still, kind of cool to see.
I mean, well, if there are foreigners, trust me, they probably have strong American ties because a lot of them are military babies.
That's true. Good point. Yeah, that's a good point there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to shout out on the card before we move on?
I do want to mention, one had another event like 12 hours earlier. It was more accommodated for the local Singapore / Asian crowd, where it was like early in the morning here in America, but like late night, but like, you know, prime time over there in Singapore. And the main event was Ok-Ryun against Christian Lee for the one lightweight title, and Christian Lee revenged his loss to Ok-Ryun. This is Ok-Ryun, for those who don't remember, beat Eddie Alvarez, and Eddie Alvarez's last fight at one like a year ago. Then he beat Christian Lee for the title, and Christian Lee, who I like him and his sister Angela Lee. They're both like two fun, great siblings in one championship, and Christian Lee just dominated Ok-Ryun. I mean, just beat him pillar to post. I mean, he looked like the better fighter in the rematch. Like he just, he just dominated him, knocked him out. I believe an uppercut in the second round. I mean, just damn. I mean, Christian Lee, this guy, like I said, I like watching him and his sister fight. Angela Lee's fighting, I believe, next month. Like I said, they're maybe the best siblings in all of MMA currently. Fun, definitely got fun brother sister team to watch in one championship. And hopefully one recognizes that the star power these guys have, especially since they're both Americans. You know, their parents are from Singapore, but Americans. So, yeah, shout out to Christian Lee getting his belt back.
Most definitely. All right. With that being said, congratulations to one on a successful night of events. Congratulations. They grabbed a lot of the MMA crowd because that was the talk of all of social media. So congratulations to one for putting on a great event. With that being said, we can move on to breaking down what's happening this Saturday. Early, ladies and gentlemen. The prelims is going to start at 12 p.m. The main event starts at 3. This is early, ladies and gentlemen. In Paris, France. Cyril Gane versus Tai Tuivasa in the heavyweight division with large title implications in this fight. Every fight in the heavyweight division has a lot of title implications because the heavyweights, when they get active fast. So I'm excited for this one. Austin, what do you see in this fight, man?
Man, I mean, I'm excited because this is the first UFC event in France. I mean, this is a big deal, obviously, because of that. This was like the last major European country to legalize MMA, and now they're finally in France. I mean, I just want to see some cool pictures. I mean, I like the poster in French. The UFC has arrived in first event in Paris in French, obviously. Pour la première fois the UFC arrive in Paris. It's my bad French. As I try, sometimes I'm good at reading French, but sometimes I'm not. But based on what I've seen, the whole MMA community in France is really excited, obviously, and because it's a big event, especially considering the hometown guys, Cyril Gane's fight on the main event in the important heavyweight fight against Tai Tuivasa. And Tai Tuivasa's come in basically on a roll. He's won, I believe, 5 in a row or 6 in a row. He's come off that knockout victory over Derek Lewis in February. That surprised all of us because He landed that elbow that we did not expect after eating some great shots from Derek Lewis. And Zero Gane's looking to bounce back from that loss to Francis Ngannou back in January for the heavyweight title. Although when I think about watching that 5th round, I think Zero Gane should have got the decision victory there, but that's another argument for another day. But Zero Gane's looking to bounce back against Tai Tuivasa. And one thing about this fight that I think that I'm interested to see is, can Tai Tuivasa cut off the octagon and prevent Zero Gane from using his movements? Because Zero Gane's very athletic, and he's showcased that in several of his fights. He likes to use his movement to touch and go and avoid power shots. And I wonder if Tai Tuivasa can somehow negate that potentially, because I think that's a key factor. And that's the reason why I think Zero Gane's going to win, just because of his athleticism, his movements, being avoid some of the big shots that Tai can land. Ty's not known for his grappling. Not that he doesn't have any, but he's not exactly known for that. He's not Curtis Blades, for example. And I do think because of Zero Gane's movement, athleticism, also striking ability, as you can see a picture of the UFC over I forget that it's a famous fight in Paris. I forget the name of it. It's very famous in France. It's a big I always forget that name. But yeah, cool picture there.
Keep breaking it down.
Yeah, yeah, because of Zero Gane's movement and his athleticism and also his striking ability, I think Zero Gane will beat Tai Tuivasa. Probably decision victory. I don't see it. I can see it's heavyweight. You never know. It could be a finish, but I personally think it's going to be a decision, 5 rounds, if Zero Gane wins. Or a late stoppage, if he wins. Go ahead.
If Zero Gane wins, I could agree with you there. It could be a late stoppage. It could be a decision. I'm going to more so agree with late stoppage because he does have range, and earlier in the rounds, he tends to be a bit more explosive. So if he can be explosive and land the damage that he wants, then later on he could slowly chop down Tai Tuivasa. But the thing with Tai Tuivasa is, I don't know. Well, we've seen it against Derek Lewis. He can take a hit because we thought he got rocked against Derek Lewis and it was over for him. But then he flipped the switch on Derek and ended up swinging and banging with Derek Lewis. So we know that Tai has a chin on him. So with that being said, like your plan of like you suggested, him going in and cutting off the range for Zero Gane, that's only possible to me if he's willing to take a shot or two. And what I saw from that Derek Lewis fight is he's willing to take a shot or two. And what I know with Tai Tuivasa is the one thing he thrives in is with striking. It's not clean striking. Is if he can make it somewhat chaotic, then he'll throw in a few clean strikes here and there. Now, what I've never seen from Zero Gane is him being thrown in a mud fight. So this is another angle that I would like to see as well. Is Tai Tuivasa able to make this a mud fight so we can see that when all technique degenerates for Zero Gane, what does he turn to? What is he gonna do? Does he become more technical? Does he try to gain that space does he become more technical in that short space and try to become more creative and do other things? Or does he really try to go back and try to find his range? Because then that would be another different that would be a different type of fight. From there, I think that would flip the confidence, and that would help Tai Tuivasa know, okay, he can't stay in close with me. Now we could potentially see 5 rounds of Zero Gane backing away, trying to get his range, and on his back foot trying to strike. And we know strikers on their back foot, they're not as powerful. That could change the dynamic for me right there. So I'm interested in to see what type of fight we're going to see between these two, and how could they change the dynamics there.
Great points. You're right. We never seen Zero Gane in a mud fight or like a brawl. Basically, we never seen him. How we do in that situation. Great point. Tai could take a shot, so that could possibly cause disruption in Zero Gane's game plan. Also, another thing I just thought about was the fact that Ngannou was able to take Zero Gane down in rounds 3 and 4. in their title fight back in January. And I wonder if Ty sees that and thinks about doing that himself and challenging Zero Gon's wrestling, because we saw against Ngannou that Zero Gon's wrestling defense wasn't the greatest, especially when trying to get up and things like that. So I wonder if Ty recognized that, has been working on his wrestling, is going to try to take Zero Gon down and maybe try to put him somewhere he's not comfortable. That's something to watch out for now I think about. And then see if Zero Gon's improved in that end of the department in these past 8 months. Yeah, 8 months since his last fights. It was interesting seeing if Zero Gon does see if he has improved in that department, if Tai Tuivasa goes for the takedowns as well.
It's all interesting because both of these guys are two creative fighters in their own respective ways, and they're both bringing something different. But the one thing I can agree with is, as much as we're going to be interested to see what type of wrestling takes place, we both know predominantly these guys don't want to wrestle. They both want to strike. And that's what we're here for. Two heavyweights that want to strike means 9 times out of 10 we might see a KO. We're all excited for that.
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. And I do think the main event will deliver and be entertaining. We're gonna enjoy the main events, and the people at Paris will get a good main event. And I do think their guy. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was gonna say I think their guy's gonna win. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. As we can move on from that fight to the co-main event, we have in the middleweight division Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vettori. Bobby Knuckles is back, ladies and gentlemen. This fight was supposed to happen earlier in the year, but I believe Bobby got an injury, so we had to postpone it to now, to where he's healthy. I'm not gonna lie, man. I know Marvin Vettori has been progressing with the striking. When he is grappling, it's very, very dominant. But he never truly poses any threats in either department as of late. He's not been a submission threat in the grappling department. And in the striking department, he hasn't really been a KO threat. I kind of see Bobby. I see Bobby Knuckles taking this, bro.
I totally agree with you in that. I don't see Marvin Vettori winning. I think Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles, as his nickname is. By the way, probably the best nickname in MMA, in my opinion. Bobby Knuckles.
I'm not even gonna lie. I think I might just exclusively call him Bobby Knuckles from now on, because that's just so dope. It's a first and a last name, man.
Yeah, it makes sense. Robert Bobby, yeah. Makes sense. But
it's not Pooh Bear.
Oh God. Come on, Brian Battle. Jeez. But back to Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker. I think he's just more skilled than Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori is a good fighter. Obviously, he's fought for the belt. He's one of most, he's a number 5 middleweight in the world right now, I believe, or number 3. Actually, I think it might be number 3. I know he's in the top 5. I know Robert Whittaker is number 2, if I'm mistaken.
Vettori, he's number 3.
Number 3, okay. Yeah, so he's top 5 middleweights, and he's coming off that victory over Paulo Costa, where Marvin Vettori showcased that he may have to argue the best chin in MMA, because he took some big shots from Paulo Costa and just ate them and didn't get knocked down or knocked out. This is at 205 too, by the way. But I mean, Vettori's toughness is there, but you're right. I mean, even though he's improving on striking, and when he does wrestle, he's dominant, but he hasn't showcased any threats with submissions or anything like that. I mean, the Kevin Holland fight, he had Holland down, and there was never a point where he was close to submitting Kevin Holland in their fights. You would think, considering Holland's takedown defense was not great, you at least try, or at least get something close. I mean, he's Holland ain't no black belt for sure, and the fact that wasn't the case there was kind of pretty surprising. And also, striking's good, but I don't think he's not better than Robert Whittaker as a striker. I don't think so. I think Whitaker is more skilled than everyone. I think because of that, Robert Whitaker is going to use his skill set to just going to skill him and beat him. Probably to the decision because Marvin Vettori's chin is just it's made of it's granite basically, and I gotta see Marvin Vettori get knocked out before I believe he can get finished. And I think Whitaker is a more skillful fighter, and I think he's gonna beat Vettori by decision. Oh, and also shoot, I forgot my other point with Whitaker. Oh, he also has got good wrestling. He can mix it up as well. So I don't think Vettori's going to try to take him down. I don't think it's going to work. If anything, I can see Robert Whitaker taking him down.
Yeah. Also, the biggest thing for me is I like literally watching that last fight with Robert Whitaker against Israel Adesanya. His gas tank is always ready for 5 rounds. So this 3-round business, I know he can push the envelope, especially in the second and third round. That'll be the difference maker for me. I know first round, it's always a feel out. Roughly the second round, we're going to see who has to change pace for what. But that third round, if he can, continue, being a dominant force that I expect him to be in rounds 1 and 2, I think rounds 3, he's just going to go to try and finish the job and really get a finish to, make a statement to be right back in the title picture.
Yeah, I agree, and I know. When Whitaker fought Jared Cannonier, Cannonier won that third round, was close, but since that fight, our Whitaker's gas tank is like you said. So he's had a lot of 5-round fights, so we know it's there, and also Gastelum fights and even the Israel fights. It wasn't like he got dominated in the second half of those fights. He really didn't. It was close. You can make an argument for potentially for Whitaker being Israel. You could make the argument, but still. He didn't exactly dominate in those later rounds, and this being 3-round fights, I think this definitely favors Robert Whitaker, who has way more experience than Marvin Vettori does in 5-round fights. And then Marvin doesn't have experience. Marvin, his last 2 or 3 fights were 5 rounds, but Robert has been the champion, and like I said, it's more skillful. So that's why I think Robert Whitaker will win this fight. Probably win all 3 rounds, in my opinion.
Yeah. We shall see, but we can move on from that fight to the next fight on the card. This is in the middleweight division as well. Alessio Di Chirico versus Roman Kopylov. Roman Kopylov, have I seen him before?
I think I have, yes.
He was on the Blachowicz to Shera fight. He lost to Albert Duriev.
This might be an introduction for me because I don't recall watching this fight. And we watched that card, reviewed it obviously, but
it's just he's okay. All his he's had 2 fights on the UFC and both of them have been losses, so that's why we haven't remembered him, and that's the harshness of the game. It is what it is.
Right, he's going against Alessio Di Chirico, who's from Italy, so he's fighting. France is right next to Italy, so he's fighting in Europe. He's also the second Italian fight on the card, because obviously Vettori is from Italy as well. So he got a lot of Europeans on this card, and he's coming off a loss. Go ahead.
He's coming off a loss against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, but he's the guy that won when he beat Joaquin Buckley in the first round via head kick.
Yep.
Oh, okay. This guy I remember. So he's a striker.
Right. He's a striker at 6 knockout TKOs. Also, he's got a couple of submissions as well. 4. So, it's interesting to see how him and Kopylov go, considering they both come off losses in their last fights. No, I think Di Chirico got knocked out right in his last fight. I know he lost, but I don't remember if it was a knockout.
MMA is a cruel game. He lost via head kick in the first round.
Okay, damn. Oof. It's been almost go ahead.
The same way he got Joaquin Buckley.
He got knocked out. Kind of like Adriano Moraes and Demetrious Johnson, their fights and won.
Yep, it happens.
Yeah, it's MMA, yeah. Although with Roman Kopylov, he does of his victories, 7 of them by KO and TKO, so he's got hands. So
all right, both of these guys are strikers. We're looking for a bunch of striking. So these 3 fights lined up so far in the later half of the card, they're looking to be promising as far as KO potential.
Yeah, and both guys have long layoffs. For Kopylov, been fought since the Jan Blachowicz Go with the Share card. That was October of last year. But for Alessio De Chirio, he hasn't fought since August of last year. We got knocked out in that Edson Barboza Giga Chikazian card in August last year. So it's been about a year since he's fought. So both come off from layoffs. It's just to see who's less rusty and who comes out more, who doesn't have that octagon rust rather in this fight. So I think there's potential knockout in this fight or KO. Although Kopylov, his 2 losses are by decision, so he has shown, I guess, toughness. He hasn't been knocked out, but you never know. I mean, possible that Chirio knocks him out. But I think we're gonna get a good striking fest in this fight.
Yeah. All right. We can move on from that fight to the next fight on the main card. In the lightweight division, Nasrat Hasparat versus John Makdessi. And I'm not gonna lie, I got Nasrat Hasparat winning this one because this guy, he is uber talented and he needs a win right now. He needs to string a couple of wins because this guy, not too long ago, he was looked at as a prospect that was about to capture gold. He's had a string of losses, not against some bad opponents. He lost against Bobby Green and Dan Hooker, but other than that, he was on the road for a while.
Yeah, you're right. He was on a roll. When he fought Dan Hooker, he was actually ranked number 13. So he's ranked when he fought Dan Hooker back in September of last year. And losing to Bobby Green, Dan Hooker aren't the worst losses to have. But Nasrat Hasparat is definitely a guy who's super talented. Definitely needs a win. I think he's going to get it because Makdessi is a little bit older. He's not exactly. He's a guy who's fought good amount of guys. Who's also lost a lot of elite guys and Makdessi is actually 37, and you want to fight against I'm trying to remember. Who was it?
Ignacio Bahamondes.
Bahamondes, there we go. He was split decision, but he hasn't fought in over a year. Makdessi, and he's a year older too. And you're going against Hasparat, who I think is younger and more talented, and actually has holds his own. And I think he's done better against good competition. He's done better than Makdessi has in the past. I think this is going to be a bounce back victory for Nasrat Hasparat. Probably a finish. I can see him finishing Makdessi in the second round potentially, in my opinion.
I agree with you completely. With that, we could move on from that fight to the next fight on the main card. It's in the featherweight division. William Gomez versus Yarno Aarons. I believe both of these guys are making their UFC debuts.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with these two. I think you.
Yeah.
You're right.
I know William Gomez is making his debut, and Yarno Aarons. Let me check. Yep. It's his first fight on the UFC as well. So it's an introduction to both of these guys. I know William is a striker because he's on right now, I think he's on a 7-fight win streak right now, and a lot of them are TKOs or KOs. So he's a striker. Yarno Aarons, his record is mixed up right now. 13-3-1. A lot of them are decisions, but it looks like he takes people to the ground.
Okay, these are 2 guys making their debuts, and are any of them from France potentially? Because I'm kind of surprised that 2 guys making their debut in the UFC on the main card, especially the first France card. Is one of them from France?
Yarno is from the Netherlands, so he's close enough. Gomez is from France.
Okay, I can see why he's on the main card. I guess he's a local guy from France, and Yarno Aarons is from Netherlands, which is right next to France, I believe. No, Belgium. The 2 countries. Yeah.
Oh, plus if you add in the fact that Gomez, I know he's been putting in work on the France scene, but also if you add in the fact that he's from Gans camp, it helps.
Ah, it makes sense. Getting all the guys. Okay, makes sense. They train out of Paris MMA Factory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I was confused. Like, why are these two guys on the main card? I mean, I was thinking one of them's gotta be from France or something. Now it makes sense. It makes sense. Okay, I see why.
All right, so we'll get a great introduction to these guys. I can't wait for that. And to start off the main card, they got a banger, man. I love this one. Charles Air Jourdain versus Nathaniel Wood. I'm hyped for this one.
Me too. Yeah,
I'm
I don't blame
hyped
you.
for this one. I'm hyped for this one. I Charles Air Jourdain, I know he needs a comeback win. I know he needs a comeback win because he lost against Shane Burgos, and Burgos just recently left the UFC. So now that spot that Burgos took up, that could have been Charles, man. He needs this one, man. It's another opportunity, and he's on the main card. He's a main card fighter against Nathaniel Wood, the prospect. Nathaniel Wood, he's a great fighter too. He's coming off of a win against Charles Rosa. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I am.
These guys are strikers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I agree. Nathaniel Woods come out of that victory against Charles Rosa in the last London card. His fight was the only fight in the prelims that was actually like entertaining. That wasn't terrible because that prelim just was bad. But gotta get Nathaniel Wood credit for his performance. Coming back at featherweight, he's fought at mostly bantamweight for most of his career. He's going against Charles Air Jourdain, who had a close fight with Shane Burgos. I mean, that third round he won, and there was arguments that he could have won the first round. You know, I think Shane Burgos was the rightful winner in that fight.
Yeah, no, he was the rightful winner of the first round. What was up for debate was the second round.
No, I thought the second round was the round where he almost got finished by Burgos by rear naked choke. I think the first round was the.
Nah, the first round was where Burgos was constantly on his back, and he was landing strikes and trying to get the rear naked choke.
Oh, first, I don't know what I'm thinking. Second round, you might be right. But he fought a competitive fight against Shane Burgos, who just left the UFC for PFL and was ranked 2. And Charles Jourdain gets another crack at the main card of a big fight night, big fight in Long Island ABC. Now you're in the first Paris show. And Charles Jourdain is ethnically French. I mean, I don't know if with the last name Jourdain, I know he's from Montreal, but still, he's ethnically French. So it's kind of like cool being fighting French. Love. Yeah, he will get some love. And Dan will be from England, will probably get booed. If you know the history of France and England and the history of wars and conflicts and all that stuff. Not recently, but historical is a rivalry with the two nations, especially in sporting events. But I think Charles Jourdain will win because I think Jourdain will be a little bit bigger than Daniel Wood. And I think Jourdain, come off that Burgos fight. I think, definitely could be a great thing for him fighting into a ranked guy in Shane Burgos, talented and almost winning. And I think he's fought better competition in featherweight than Nathaniel Wood has. I think he'll use that to his advantage and get the victory over Daniel Wood.
All right. I'm excited for that one. We shall see. Is there any fights on the preliminaries that you're excited for?
Wait a minute. Hang on. This is a preliminary fight? Wait, what? Hold up. Yeah,
what you're about to say.
Yeah, Joaquin Buckley and Nasruddin Imanov. Why is this on the prelims? This makes no sense. Those are the main card fights. Imanov trains in France. I know he's from Dagestan, but he trains at MMA Factory Zircon. He's ranked in the middleweight division. This is Joaquin Buckley we're talking about. How the heck is this not on the main card? That doesn't make. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I'm lost.
So we're both excited for that fight. We don't understand why it's there, but hey. I guess especially in the Paris scene, you like as much as these two guys are known commodities, they've kind of given a considerate amount of the main card to some new prospects to potentially invite into the UFC and get an influx of Paris blood into the UFC. So this it could be an opportunity right there. At the end of the day, that's a business decision. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, but put the Chario and Kopylov line from France. Imanov trains in France, and you could replace that with them, considering it's a big, important, somewhat important middleweight matchup.
Yeah, I mean, then again, let me see. Is any of these guys? They may not be from France, but they may be popular fighters in France that are,
Kopylov's from Russia, and Alessio the Cherio's from Italy.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but I don't get it either. That's kind of confusing to see that.
I mean, I guess it guarantees that people will tune in for the preliminaries because Joaquin Buckley is a show.
Yes, he is, and I totally agree. Joaquin Buckley is a show. Like you said, a show. And what's going to bring up Imanov's two straight victories for Imanov by TKO. The last fight was against Edmund Shabazian, and before that was against Phil Hawes by TKO. So he's definitely he's been on the not Phil Hawes. I don't know why I said Phil Hawes. I mean Ian Heinich. My bad. He lost to Phil Hawes. That's right. Let me correct myself there. Two fight winning streak for Imanov by TKO ground and pound. And if you're Imanov, you gotta try to take Joaquin Buckley down. Don't try to make it too much of a stand-up fight because Joaquin Buckley's got the power to knock you out. He's knocking anyone out. I mean, we've seen it so many times. Not just his highlight reel knockouts back in 2020, but also other fights as well where he showcased his knockout ability. And if you're Imanov, you want to take Joaquin Buckley down, try to tire him out because Joaquin Buckley at times in the third round tends to slow down, and hopefully you can do that to where he's tired. You can catch him, maybe finish him in the third round when he's tired.
But be very careful with shooting on him and move your head a lot. Don't ever settle in one spot, especially while he's standing because he has power all throughout. And his last opponent, Albert Duriev, I believe, right?
Yes.
He tried that. Remember, he ended up with a hematoma.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
He was getting it started off with him shooting, trying to get Joaquin down, underestimating his grappling defense, which has gotten better. Then he tried underestimating his patience in the stand-up game, which has gotten better. Joaquin Buckley has gradually advanced. So, the old tapes, you have to throw that out. That Albert Duriev tape, 2-3 fights of Joaquin Buckley as of late, those are the tapes you have to look for at Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah, good point. He's on a 3-fight win streak. So Joaquin Buckley beats Imanov. I mean, he'll be ranked basically. Chance to enter the rankings, and for Joaquin Buckley's made improvements. So don't be careful with your head placement, especially going for takedowns, because Joaquin can mess you up. I mean, look, they mentioned Duriev left him with a bad hematoma that cost the fight to end by doctor stoppage, and Joaquin Buckley's improved, and hopefully Joaquin Buckley has worked. I'm pretty sure he's worked on his wrestling and his takedown defense, but also his cardio, because if he can fix those things, sky's the limit for Joaquin Buckley. I think he can definitely be a top 5 contender in the middleweight division if he works on his wrestling, especially his defense and also his gas tank. I mean, but this is a good test for him against Imanov, and vice versa too for Imanov against Joaquin Buckley. I like this fight.
Oh, yeah. A fight for me that I'm interested in completely. Benoit Saint Denis versus Gabriel Miranda in the lightweight division. Benoit Saint Denis is a total unique prospect because he's really long and just built for the division, and he provides a lot of power, and his grappling is so unique and it's just so dominating. I'm totally interested in this guy whenever he enters the octagon. He is a prospect to look out for. I'm watching out for this fight right here.
Okay, and that's a good one. And I'm trying to see, is there any other undercard fight or prelim fight? Excuse me, I'm looking forward to see. Trying to see Magomedov and Stolfis. Dustin Stolfis. He a middleweight or light heavyweight? I forget.
Middleweight.
Okay. I forgot. Did he beat Jocko, or who did he beat recently?
Dwight Grant.
Dwight Grant. Okay. Dustin Stolfus. Okay, I know that name. Like, after it may have been the prelims, him against Abu Sian Magomed in the middleweight division. It may have been as the prelims.
Abusupian
Magomedov, yeah, that's a hard name to pronounce. Oh my, that. Wow, that's tough.
Hey, I got it. Abusupian Magomedov.
Magomedov, man. Who I think is he maybe his UFC debut or no? Because I'm not familiar with that name.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this guy. Yeah, this would be a UFC debut.
Okay, so debut for him. So he's 24-4 against Dustin Stolfus, who's come out of a victory over Dwight Grant. And we got another Dagestani in the UFC, another Russian. Interesting to see if we can continue that wave of Dagestani fighters who have success in the UFC.
Oh yeah. Any other fight for you?
No.
All right, that's it. Well, tune in, ladies and gentlemen. It starts early. Prelims start at 12 in the afternoon, Saturday. Early fight day. And then the main card starts at 3 o'clock. Please, guys, tune in. We will break it down as soon as we finish watching it. I'm excited for this UFC in Paris. I want to see how the crowd is receiving of it, because I remember the crowd in with the Bellator go to Paris.
Yeah, they did.
They did, and the crowd was really good there.
Yeah, the crowd was good. I expect the same in the UFC. The crowd should be as good as the Bellator crowd, especially with Zaragon fight in the main event. Also, you got Imanov, you got William. William. I don't want to butcher his last name. William Gomez. William Gomez, and also fighting out friends. That's true. That's what I was thinking. I don't say Gomez, and maybe Saturday I'll learn the correct pronunciation of his name. William Gomez, and also Charles Jourdain, who's ethnically French last name on that card. Also Imanov too, trains out in France, so a lot of French talent. So definitely the crowd should be into this card, and I can't wait. So like I said, Saturday afternoon fights. I like it. I like good Saturday afternoon fights, especially in Europe with a European crowd, European fighters, and I'm excited for that. Can't wait. Saturday's gonna be great. Finally, UFC enters in France. But I do want to mention. You gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
I do want to mention a couple of things, because some fights did get announced that I want to talk briefly about. Next weekend is UFC 279. A fight got announced for the main card. Is Kevin Holland against Daniel Rodriguez in the welterweight division on the main card. You know, it's cool seeing Kevin Holland return, especially since that pay-per-view definitely needed another big name on that card, because that card wasn't looking too good. So Kevin Holland, Daniel Rodriguez. I mean, it's actually a catch weight. It's gonna be at 180. I guess. I don't know if Holland or Rodriguez didn't have enough time to make the weights, considering this fight got announced a couple days ago and the pay-per-view is next week. So it makes sense 180 for Rodriguez and Holland.
We'll talk more about it next week when we break down that card. But yeah, I'm excited for that fight. Whenever Kevin Holland touches the octagon, it's an event to tune into.
Oh yeah, for sure, and also for Madison Square Garden UFC 281. No, we didn't talk about Brad Riddell is fighting Honorable Canio on that card. In the undercard, so another City Kickboxing guy on that card. You have Israel Dan Hooker. Also, you got their teammate Carlos Ulberg on that card. So a lot of City Kickboxing guys on UFC 281, Madison Square Garden. Obviously, both won't be there, but still.
Yeah, it's looking to be an event. I'm excited for that one as well. I wish a certain someone was on that card to accompany someone else, but it is what it is. We'll talk about it when it happens.
Okay. Also, another fight that got announced for November, the week after the Madison Square Garden cards, is Jack Shore returning after his first loss to Ricky Simone against Kyler Phillips. And I think that's gonna be a good bounce back fight for Jack Shore. I know he lost to Ricky Simone, but Ricky Simone is pretty damn good and underrated. I think he might be one of the more underrated fighters in the UFC, considering he's ranked. And but
no, I was agreeing with you 100%, and it is a great fight to come back to because Kyler Phillips himself, he's also a stout competition. He's a prospect that, everyone's looking to just get right as far as his gas tank. And if he could just be a bit more patient, sometimes in the first round, he would do amazing things. But yeah, that guy is, we'll talk more about it when the fight breaks down. But that is a great fight to bounce back to. Shows that they're not just, feeding him an easy competition, Jack Shore, because he's a great prospect. That's another test, bouncing back. Can you, shake off a guy in Kyler Phillips?
Yeah, definitely. And Jack Shore, like I said, lost to Ricky Simone, who maybe who's someone in that bantamweight division that we don't talk enough about, considering he's, I believe, number 10. I mean, we talk about obviously Sanagan, Song Yadong, and De La Shaw, and Cheeto, and Cruz, and all them guys, and Sean O'Malley, and Peter Yan, but Ricky Simone kind of gets left out of all the bantamweights, and you gotta keep an eye on him. I mean, he's a guy that could really potentially get in the top 5 by the end of next year, for sure. I mean, he's really talented, and Jack Shore lost him, so we'll see if Jack Shore can bounce back. Also, I do want to for December 3rd. It looks like Emily Ducati, the girl, if you watch the intro, who does that head kick that froze her opponent. She's making the, I guess, quick turnaround. She fought in July, fighting in December against Angela Hill in UFC December 3rd. So that's a good matchup for Emily. She's being a ranked Jessica Penne, and if she beats Angela Hill, who's ranked. I mean, in her first 2 UFC fights, she beats 2 ranked, girls in strawweight. I mean, sky's the limit for her.
Possibilities are endless. Can't wait to break down that fight.
Yeah, and also, Lord willing, I can go because I found out that event's gonna be in Orlando. So hopefully, I can go to that card. That'd be cool. If I go to that card, I'd like to, actually record videos from the event itself and just showcase, because if you've never been to a UFC event, guys, they're fun. I recommend going to at least once, because I've been to 2 and they're pretty damn cool. It's good, fun experience. I'll tell you that right now. Definitely worth going to see once. Very unique and cool. And hopefully I can go to this one in Orlando in December 3rd, Lord willing. But yeah, man, a good fights and a good main event too. Jack Hermanson, Derek Brunson on that main event.
Oh yeah, that's a good fight. A good bounce back fight for Derek Brunson. Yeah,
and one thing I do want to talk about. I was thinking of doing a separate video about this, but I might as well talk about here is what are your thoughts on the possibility of Wonder Boy fighting Shakov Romanov, considering some people were saying it's unfair to Wonder Boy that he's getting screwed, but I don't agree with that. I think if you're Wonder Boy is ranked number 7 and Shakov is ranked number 11, it makes sense for them to fight. I don't know. I don't get why some people in the MMA community I know felt like it was unfair to Wonder Boy was getting screwed over. I honestly don't get that. I mean, I know it sucks seeing legends potentially lose, but at the same time, you got to defend your ranking, and we see Wonder Boy bounce back from at times where we thought he was done and come back and win fights. I mean, I don't get why some people in the MMA community felt like that was like Wonder Boy was getting screwed.
It's not so much of he's getting screwed because he's getting handed Shakrat Rachmanov. It's more so it's like Wonder Boy is sat amongst the top 5. And a lot of guys within the division have gotten opportunities to go against Usman. And Usman, at the time, he had some layoffs or whatnot. So there were times where he could have, when Wonder Boy, when he won fights and he had the opportunity to call a shot and he did, it just was never reciprocated then. So now all this time he was ready. And then out of nowhere, the promotion started booking people that ended up lapping Wonder Boy. That's what the commotion is about. So I'm not, in agreement all the way with, he got screwed. He did lose certain fights that he wasn't supposed to, but at the same time, it's like the division is showing that there's a certain skill set that's needed, and Wonderboy doesn't provide that primarily. So that's the whole thing with me right there. You got to fight your way into the spots you want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I know Wonderboy did turn down that fight, considering, but still, the UFC was looking for that fight, and I get. You know, we want to see Wonderboy in fun fights, but at the same time, I didn't think it was that bad of a decision to book Wonderboy and Shaka and excuse me, Shaka Rakhmonov, considering their rankings are not far. Like they're basically separated by you know, Wonderboy's number 7, Shaka was ranked number 11. I thought it was a good matchup, but it is what it is. Like I said, hopefully Wonderboy returns by the end of the year, considering Wonderboy hasn't fought since December of last year. We lost to Bilal Muhammad.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to mention before we end the show?
No, not really. Nothing as of yet has hit my time feed, but when we do get the breaking news, we'll break it down.
Yeah, that's most definitely. And well, congratulations to Demetrious Johnson for winning the one flyweight title, and can't for Saturday in France, tied to Vasson and Cyril Gahn and Robert Whittaker and Bobby Knuckles, and Marvin Vettori. Can't wait, and then also the rest of that card. Can't wait to see UFC in Paris for the first time. Exciting. And then next weekend is the UFC pay-per-view 279. Hamza Chimaev and Nate Diaz. We'll talk about that. And thank you guys for watching, listening to us on YouTube, Rumble, listening to us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Reason That Fan, Spreaker, etc. Appreciate the love, support, guys. I'm Austin, Chef Dan, and we'll see you guys next week. And peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are